morning, Basil. How's it going?
Good morning, Alex. Yeah, not too bad. How are you, man?
I'm very good, sir. Very good. So this week we've got a spy movie, is what I like to call them. It's called Official Secrets. Now I've watched it on Prime. You've watched it on what did you see?
Yeah,
Prime
as well. Yeah.
Prime. Yeah. So Official Secrets is Keira Knightley plays the main role. It's actually a true story about the whistleblower Katharine Gunn. And basically, she used to work for GCHQ in the UK, and she was just a translator because she knew a few languages. So, and then one day at work, she receives an email from the NSA, whereabouts it is requested from her department to try and find intelligence on some UN members that can be used in order to influence a vote for the US to go
Iraq
into
war.
the war.
Yeah.
Into the Iraq war.
And this is
So
all in
basically,
2004, isn't it? 2003,
I think
2004.
I think just before they went in. So basically, this documents a memo from the NSA from this random guy, and then she looks at it and she decides to leak it to the press. And this is the whole film is the story of what she has to go through. This is a real story, so I looked it up, and it's actually very close to the truth.
It's all based on real events, and like the funny thing is, I've never heard of this case, and I don't think I'll be alone saying that. I've never heard of this whistleblower case, and the story is really fascinating, really, because if anyone's interested in how we got involved in the Iraq War in 2003 as the UK.
Absolutely.
A lot of people just say, we got in bed with America. It was a coalition between Tony Blair and George Bush, and they came together, and it was like just the UK and America going into Iraq, with the suspicion that the Iraqis had weapons of mass destruction, which I think still to this day has never been proved to be true. So obviously there's the obvious thinking that it was just they went there for the oil. You know, a lot of jokes are made about America and oil, but why else would they go there? So it's an interesting story.
But it's interesting. It's interesting the way it works, because basically, just to explain the politics of it, the US had to go to the United Nations to put the case forward that
for an invasion,
basically for an act of war, and then the UN has to sanction that question, proposition to go and invade, and then they can go ahead and invade, and they had nothing. The reason was that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction, so they asked the GCHQ to find dirt, basically, on some of the UN councils that they can use and bribe them, basically.
Yeah, and it was select countries, wasn't it? It was like Bulgaria,
Cambodia, I think,
Ghana, and it was like what was it called again? CHGQ. The employees were meant to. What would you call eavesdrop and listening to phone calls, for as you say, dirt to blackmail them into voting yes for the war, and which is just insane.
This tells the story of hers, which is just insane.
And it's like anyone with a moral conscience would, like, the attitude in the country at the time. Opinion polls stated that like 74% of the British population aren't in favour of a war, and obviously Katharine Gunn was one of these people who believed it was just all going to be resulting in unnecessary death. So with a moral conscience, she took the steps to leak it.
Yeah, and also speaking of the morality of her actions, because for a half of the film, the beginning of the film, she goes through these steps thinking, what if it was pointless to do it because it looks like the country is already decided that it's against it. So she goes to that stage first, but then she goes to the question of, have you betrayed your country by leaking this memo?
Exactly. That's the big question. That's the big question.
And that's the big question. Yeah. And then she gets the lawyer, which is one of her favourite actors.
Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes just turns up halfway through the film. Really nice to see him.
Really nice to see him. And then they discuss the morality of her decision. And at one point, she goes forward and goes and tells the GCHQ that she's the one that's done it. And then she gets interviewed, and all sorts of stuff happens without spoiling it. But at one point, there's a scene when she sits down with one guy from It's from I think it's from the agency, but I don't know if it's not from the Scotland Yard. Might be.
Yeah, Scotland Yard. Yeah.
So she sits down with him, and he says you can see on his face that he's literally telling her that you've betrayed your country. The Official Secrets Act, which is a law apparently, and she says no. My job when I signed up to work at the GCHQ is not to eavesdrop, is to serve the UK public. If I hear information that will result in a terror act against the UK public, that is my duty to tell it, to reveal, to shout it.
I think
what I did.
One
it was a piece of information that would put the UK citizens in danger, and I just did my job. And that it's so clear, and it seems like it's all forgotten in the film, because the guy, you look at his face, and the guy from Scotland Yard just can't understand what she's talking about.
That's the thing. Yeah, the guy who's trying to grill her and say, "Look, you've broken a law," and in a way, she has broken a law. She agreed to be secretive in her job, but there was that moment that clicked to her. You can see in the film where it's like, she realised that the job is now going to endanger her own people, because we would end up being in the war, and that mean English soldiers dying and American soldiers dying and Iraqi civilians. She realised this, and so she chose to do the right thing, and that's kind of a funny thing in the film. It's like, she broke the law, and it's this kind of philosophical question of who is she working for, and she's not at one. She might betray the country.
What is her role?
Yeah, what is her? Yeah. She might betray the country, which is the UK, but she didn't betray the people of the UK, which I think is the point that is kind of made in the film.
That's what the role is, and that seems to be forgotten somehow. So that's one of the key issues that is discussed. But the other one is the legality of the war, because it was an illegal war, because the NSA just asked if they can find some dirt on other people that they can use. So they had no arguments for a war. Eventually, unfortunately, they still found the way to do it by saying that it's a matter of national security for the US. So they went in, and then all the allies had to go in too, because it's the States, which is an unfortunate thing. But the film just shows you this world that especially is based on a true story, and it has a cracking ending, which I wasn't expecting.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant, man. Absolutely fantastic.
So,
just one last point.
You can see I'm passionate about it.
I think that's the thing. I think one last point I'd like to make on it is that you kind of suspect stuff like this is going on, but you can never really prove it. But look, we've got a documentation of proof here from this lady, this Katharine Gunn, that this sort of stuff is going on behind closed doors to justify a war. And there was even a bit of a segment in the film. The whole point of the film's title, this Official Secrets, this Official Secrets Act 1989. There's a little bit of a segment in the film that referenced Margaret Thatcher's involvement in the Falklands War with the Falklands Islands and the UK, and how in 1989 this Official Secrets Act was reformed to make sure that it could never be disturbed in such a way that someone who's revealing secrets would be seen as a morally right person, which is why it was so hard to win the case for Katharine Gunn. So not only was that annoying to hear about, in that all happened in 1989 with Falklands, so more corruption from our government, but also the fact that they still invaded Iraq because the Americans found a way to justify the invasion by saying it's a national security issue. It's like all of these loopholes are being discovered by the governments of massive countries such as the UK and the US, and it's just kind of sad to hear. So when the film ended, I didn't think, oh, this is great, it's a good story. I just kind of had a feeling of the world is corrupt,
it just goes. It shows very well how what the country has to do to go to war with another country, and how those laws those international laws that are supposed to protect or make sure that decision is the right decision can be corrupted. Those laws. That's what the film shows very well. So it's on Prime. Yeah.
Yep.
I watched it on Prime. Is Keira Knightley and Ralph Fiennes is in it.
Fiennes.
Fiennes, And I'll talk next week, Baz. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice one. Take care, Alex. Bye.
Cool. Have a good one. Bye.